Good evening. I'm Kendra Diefenderfer, Senior Director for RiverStone Health Hospice. Welcome to the 33rd Annual RiverStone Health Hospice Tree of Lights celebration, presented by RiverStone Health Foundation. The Tree of Lights is a tradition that we hold dear, a time to reflect and remember those who have invited us into their homes at the end of life. We are honored to have shared this journey with so many families and are grateful for your trust. This event is pre-recorded so we could ensure that you have the best viewing experience. A print-ready digital copy of our program is available at our website, riverstonehealth.org/lights. We would like to thank our presenting sponsors, Yellowstone Bank and Michelotti Sawyers, for their support of the 33rd Annual RiverStone Health Hospice Tree of Lights celebration. This event is a greater success because of their support and the support of other community sponsors. Also, a special thank you to RiverStone Health Foundation and the Tree of Lights Committee volunteers. Finally, we would like to thank everyone who have honored loved ones with a gift to RiverStone Health Hospice. In the more than 40 years of service to the community, our philosophy has not wavered. Terminally ill patients referred to our hospice care are cared for regardless of their financial means. At the end of life, dignity and compassion are provided to every individual, enhancing the quality of their remaining time. With the support of RiverStone Health's hospice team, family members spend their last days, weeks, and months as a loved one rather than a caregiver. RiverStone Health hospice staff help transform an often difficult journey for our patients, their families, and friends into a time of love, comfort, and peace. Tonight, we light the beautiful spruce tree adorned with thousands of lights in remembrance of all of our loved ones. At this time, I'd like to introduce some RiverStone Health hospice staff and volunteers who will be reading the names of our loved ones. Linda Hampton, Corrine Deneg, Paula Kildall, Mary Abrams, Jessica Shear, Anna Warburton. They will now lead us in recognition of those who have passed.
Thanks, Kendra. Honorees will be read in alphabetical order by last name. Please excuse any mispronunciations. Isabel Abel, Marlene Agnew, Jack Albin, Harold and Frances Aldrich, Evelyn and Buzz Aldrich, Douglas Alexander, Chet Allen, Vicky Alred, Melvin Amon, Elma and Charles Ament, Paul Auney, Richard W. Bailey, Joyce Baker, Pat Baker, Bob Baker, Marfel Ballantyne, Rita Balmer, Dee Balzer, Jeanette Barkel, Joan Ellen Bartek, Roger and Marilyn Barton, Sue and Lou Beto, Frank L. Beeler, Genevieve C. Beeler, Arnie B. Jott, Henrietta Belcher, Steve Belcher, Walter Belcher, Willis Belcher, Lee Bell, Harvey Bennett, Darlene Ann Berg, Donnie Berg, Hugh and Janet Berg, Raymond C. Bergeron, Jack Burgum, Vanjie Burms, Donna Burms, Linda Baslanowicz, Nancy Lee and Corky Bionarood, Robert Merle Black,
Jack Philip Black, Pamela Black, John Black, John R. Black, Sharon Blackman, Brent Allen Bloom, Richard P. Bodine, Richard Bowes, Marcy Boleen, Mary A. Bolensk, Bo Bolton, John Bond, Michelle Bowers, Aona Brady, Bob Bramble, Beverly Broughton, Janet Brodegon, Frida Bradberg, Harold Bradberg, Jim and Eleanor Breeze, Cleo Dick Brewer, Leona Brewer, Michael E. Brock, Jill Brogan, Chet Brusky, Helen Burgess, Rhoda Berkey, Catherine Burns, Robert R. Burns, Luann Burrows, James Irvin Burton, Wes Carahazen, Jesus Jess Castro, Betty Jane Child, Harold and Margaret Christensen, Robert E. Cornell III, Edward and Dolores Coyle, Bill and Norma Kurtalik, Mark R. Curtis, Lois J. Curtis, Marlene A. Cushing,
James M. Cushing, Bob and Irene Dahlman, Viola Dow-Wenhauer, Lorraine Davy, Bernie C. Degley, Dale J. Degley, Shirley DeLeo, Edie and Garth Delmonica, William and Mary Dennis, Jerry and Dawn Devitt, Virginia Dieterich, Ann Dietrich, Lucy Dietz, Bill Dietz, Kurt Lee Dolchek, Renee Dahls, Guy Dahls, Gary Dahls, Jeanette Dahls, Vance Dahls, Jim Donovan, Tommy Lee Dorman, Brigitte Dowies, Tom Downey, Tom and Betty Driscoll, Tom and Joanne Driscoll, Kent DeBow, Don and Marla Stuff, Jan Dunlop, Thomas O. Earl, Jim Eberly, Frank L. Eckerd, Sandra Edwards, Art Eichlin, Kenneth Ide, Gerald Emmond, Margaret L. Emsweiler, Bert E. Emsweiler, Wendy Eubank, Kornberg family, Torres family, Harold Farrand,
Feist family, Lois Feldman, Tuffy Feldman, Walter Fellows, Patricia Fellows, Dwayne Felton, Mary Lou Felton, Wesley Ferderer, Emily Fertig, Janet Fisher, David Fletcher, Edwin Flynn, Rita Margaret Ford Smith, Frank Forsland, Marietta Frank, Patricia Franks, Glenn French, Everett Fry, Mildred Fry, Merv and Millie Fry, Hank Gable, Eddie Gable, Eric Gable, Floyd and Elsie Gable, Danny Gable, Donna Gall, Alvin Gall, Lois Garrow, Betty Goslow, Donna Goslow, Val and Frida Jeffrey, Daryl Gearing, Rosemary Gerstner, Catherine Robinson Giles, C. Beatrice Goodman, Herbert Goodman, Doug Greenwalt, Terrence R. T.R. Gress, Suzanne Gross, Viral and Dorothy Gwynn.
Carrie I. Gunderson, Jerry Gunderson, Terrence Terry Hahn, Kevin Hadley, Beverly Hagan, Betty J. Hayter, George Hall, Irvin Leroy Hammond, Kathleen Hammond, Bryce and Doris Hancock, Irene Hansen, Shirley Haar, Edward Ed J. Harris, Marilyn K. Hart, Joseph R. Hart, Richard and Mary Lou Hatfield, Ted Haverlin, Julie Ann Havig, Everett Specs Haworth, Gary Haworth, Charles R. Hayes, Doris M. Hayes, Dr. Sterling Hayward, Bob and Jackie Hecht, Merlin Hedin, Jim Haim Bishner, Hilda Heiser, Wilma Heiser, Ray Heiser, Edward D. Henderson, Raymond Hernandez, Raymond A. Hernandez, Clifford Heiser, Gail Heiser Shank, Lou Hicks, Shar Hill, Howard Hint, Shelley Hagelum, Irma Hofferber, Alan Hofferber, Jacob Hofferber, Linda Hoffman,
Aaron Hoffman, Roxanne Hogan, Jacqueline May Holman, Josh Holland, Mariah Holloway, Gert and Leif Homeland, Frank Holzer, Justin W. Hoppy, Willis and Inez Horning, Fred Horpstead, Dennis L. Hove, Gladys Rasky, Aileen Huffman, Sandra Brastrup Hull, Bosworth Humphrey, Dorothy Humphrey, Charles Hunt, Eben Bud Huntington, Beverly Hudsonbyler, Lillian A. Highland, Bob Inglis, Mary Irby, Sherry Jacobson, Joyce Jameson, Josh and Nicole Jeffers, Virginia Jellison, Artis Jensen Beekler, Jack Job, Marie Job, Alfred D. Johnson, Donald Jean
Johnson, Dale Johnson, Barbara Lee Jones, Louis Arthur Jones, Roger Charles Jones, Clausine Jordan, Ed and Verda Joyce, Judith K. Jurist, Dorothy and Jerry Justice, Sam Kawano, Mary Kate Kennan,
Robert Bob Keller, Donna Kent, Bob Kent, Philippine Kern, Shirley E. Ketterling, Darlene Kilby, Mary Killay, Joyce Kilmer, Walter and Gail Kinsfather, Walt, Sonny, and Mary K. Kinsfather, Dorothy and Steve Kirkland, Skip Klein, Gary Klein, Bill Klein, Earl Klein, Ralph and Anna Klein, Don Klein Jr., Ronald Clem, Ray and Mildred Clem, Verla Kober, Tim Kober, Bruce Koberstein, Peg Kibbe, Kerwin Kostelecki, Richard Kraft, Clem Kirkosa, Ronald L. Kroll, Dolores E. Kroll, Janice Kruger, Mary F. and Chester L. Kruger, Jack R. Lambrecht, Ken Lanning, Richard Larimer, David Larimer, Ted Lechner, Robert Stanford Lee, Julian Lemaster, Matthew Paul Luthold, Eddie Luthold, Rita Lindbaum,
Dorothy Litzinger, Ethel Locke, Neil and Doug Logan, Gerald Loran, Robert Lubbers, Kent J. Lustig, Jerry Lingby, Estelle B. Lyon, Ginger S. Mize, Alice Malin, Richard Malin, Bern Manley, Ben Marcello, Carrie Martin, Mary Martin, Nancy Matern, Tommy Matovich, Chance Mavity, Tanya Gertrude Main, Ruth McAtee, Judy McCaffrey, Dave McNally, Bob Meisenheimer, Peg Meisenheimer, Linda Meredith, Anne and Harold Chick Marmel, Paul Marmel, Ron Mesman, Susan Metler, Susan J. Metzger, Norbert and Mary Meyer, Dawn Meyer, Joe Meyer, Donna Meyer, John Michaelis, Daniel Mickelson, Dolly Mickelson, Don and Shirley Miller, David Owen Manichello,
Elizabeth Mitchell, Shirley Moffett, Irene Moffett, Robert Monet, Kathleen May Moon, David James Moon, Eva Fern Moore, Leslie Morin, Grace Morin, Jane A. Morris, C. Gordon Morris, Paul J. Mortensen, Renee M. Mortensen, Sam and Jesse Morich, Raymond Munson, Vivian Munson, Sharon Murphy, Elsie and Bill Murphy, Anna Nakatello, James Niebauer, Dave and Lydia Niebauer, Walter O. Nelson, Tari Nelson Zager, Frank Netherton, John Newman, Marty Niles, Larry Nitz, Catherine Navazio, Evelyn Oblander, Ellen Oblander, Willie Oblander, Fran Olson, Herman Ostermiller, Herb Ottman, Juanita Palmer, Janie Park, Gary Parker, Jack Parks, Dwayne Parman,
Julie Pasiuk, Lorna Paulson, Adelia Dia Pearl, Jean Pearl, Ron Pearl, Valerie Peters, Pat Peters, Deanna K. Peterson, A. Glenn Peterson, Mabel L. M. Peterson, Marion Chet Peterson, Gladys L. Phelps, Stephen G. Phillips, Glenn Pike, Polly Poindexter, Max Poitra, Rex Poitra, Mark Priest, Martha Prill, Teresa Prinz, Harold Propp, Betty Ronig, Philip Redman, Eugene P. Reichert, Steve Reinbold, Arlene Reinbold, Carol Reinbold, Elaine D. Rice, Don Rimmer, Edgar Ritz, Ted and Leela Ritz, Don and Ellen Rote, Francis Roberts, Victor Roberts, Randy Roberts, Deborah K. Robinson, George Robson, Bill and Hertha Romick, George Rogers, Barbara Rogers,
Bob and Laurie Rogers, Pat and Jean Rolwitz, Jesse Rudes, Marianne Rosen, Donald Rowe, Eileen Royer, Glenda Royer, Jeannie Ruff, Daniel G. Ruff, Dorothy Rupp, Tom Rushwitz, Michael Sample, Joseph Sample, LaDonna Sauer, Dorothy Schock, Eleanor Scharsh, Wayne Scharsh, Delilah Sheff, Georgine Schliening, Lori Van Sky Schmidt, Erlene Schmidt, Lloyd Shellhammer, Willie Shelton, Laurel Shook, Everett Schrader, Brian L. Smith, Leslie Solari, Gina Spath, Richard Spath, Darlene Spieler, Jody Stanaway, Gerald E. Stanhope, Emily Stansel, Erwin Stansel, Dorothy Stouffer, James Stouffer, Melvin Steinmetz, Mark Steinmetz, Stacy Stewart, Edwin L. Stickney, MD.
Jim Stockfish Sr., Jana Stockton, Lucille Stockton, Dan Stockton Sr., Alan W. Strange, Richard Lauren Stratford, Lydia Stratford, Richard L. Stratford Sr., Darlene Stratton, Gary Strong, Nathan Strong, Joshua Strong, Tom and Betty Tennyson, Jan Thomas, Lyle Thompson, Art Thompson, Dale Thompson, Lauren Thompson, Marvin Thompson, Robert Bob Thompson, William Bill Timberman, Wayne Torno, Kathy Jo Jody Tribal, Connie Tribal, Merlin Tribal, Sharon Tribal, Tom Trimbo, Jim and Kathleen Trudanowski, Kay Turner, George and Virginia Olszek, Sue Van Levini, Eric Verland, Drew Verland, Kay Vetch, Francis Vincelette, David Allen Vogley, Lorraine Vogel, Darlene Wagner, Teresa Waite, Monty Wallace,
Rich Wallace, Cheryl Wallace, Mark Wallace, George W. Wallace, Richard Waltner, Edward Wombold, Lytle Warden, Shirley Warren, Harvey Watts, Joy Waylander, Otto K. Weaver, Mr. and Mrs. Rudolph Wagner, Adeline Wagner, Wilhelm Wagner, Amalia Wagner, Ray Waymeyer, Sally Waymeyer, Nita Whaler, Erwin Uyghur, Camby Uyghur.
Tim Wilkins, Kay Will, Winifred Williams, Garland L. Williamson Jr., Linda Wilmot, Rhonda Woods, Jim Worthington, Betty Lou Worthington, Idora I. Wortman, Suneo Yamaguchi, Phil Yanchizin, Eugene and Elsie Yost, Patricia Young, Theodore R. Young Jr., Louis M. and Jacques Jovitich, Ziggy Ziegler, John Anthony Ziegler, Thomas A. Zoller, Thomas H. Zoller, Lou and Mike Zigmond, Joe and Zoni Zigmond, Alex Zigmond.
Welcome. I'm Barbara Schneeman, Executive Director of RiverStone Health Foundation, and it is my honor to be a part of the 33rd Annual RiverStone Health Tree of Lights celebration. Let's take a moment of silence to remember those we've just honored, as well as remember those who are in our hearts. We are privileged that Stella Ziegler, her son, James Ziegler Jr., and other family members and dear friends have joined us for our Tree of Lights candlelight celebration. RiverStone Health Hospice had the privilege to care for James Ziggy Ziegler during his final journey. Ziggy's 89 years of life were filled with faith, family, and community service. It was important to Ziggy that he be at home in his last months. Stella and his children ensured that his wish was fulfilled by caring for him at home with support from the RiverStone Health Hospice team. Ziggy's family will have the honor of lighting the tree this evening. At this time, I would like to introduce RiverStone Health chaplains Terry Steinbrink and Eric Johnson, who will lead us in a candlelight celebration of our loved ones. We invite you to light a candle at home and join us in this celebration.
Welcome. This is a special tree, not just because of the holidays, but because this tree represents hope, comfort, resilience, and light. We come together to honor and celebrate the memories of our loved ones. May this ceremony be a blessing for all. Light is one of the most universal, fundamental, and meaningful symbols found in cultures and religions throughout the world. Whatever someone's spiritual, religious, or cultural beliefs, there tends to be a unified understanding that light is a sign of hope and promise. No matter how our world may seem, there is no darkness that can overtake the light. One little tiny speck of light will break through even the darkest night. The fact that light can overcome darkness is often portrayed as a way to give hope. This is both a physical and spiritual meaning. Just as a lighthouse guides lost sailors to safety, the light can bring us home to hope. May the lighting of this tree symbolize hope and bring light where it is most needed. And tonight, the 33rd Annual Hospice Tree of Lights honors the memory of James Ziegler, best known as Ziggy. And we're privileged that his wife, Stella, and his son, James Jr., and many other family and friends are here to light the tree. And now Stella's going to say a few words about Ziggy.
Well, we all know he was a great guy, and we all loved him, and I really appreciate them honoring Zig tonight. It's really special. He was very involved with RiverStone Health in a lot of ways, with Lil Anderson especially years ago, dear friend of his. So I want to especially thank not only RiverStone, but the RiverStone Health and the nurses that helped me when Zig was so ill. They were kind, loving, supportive at a time in life when I really, really needed it. And I can't only say to Christine and to Paula, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you did for us, because it meant a lot and we really appreciate it. I know my family feels the same way. We all were very fortunate that Zig could stay at home right to the end, but it was because of hospice that really was able to happen. And because of that, I just want you to know how grateful I am. And other than that, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything.
Thank you, Stella. Ziggy truly was a force in this community. He made such a difference to so many. Yeah. And now Stella will light the tree.
All right. There we go.
Here you go, right here.
All righty.
Yep.
Okay. We're going to give it a shot.
Yeah,
Yay!
there you go.
I feel like the president.
Thank you, Stella.
Thank you for letting me do that. That was really special.
And this tree, I hope that everyone will use this tree truly as a beacon of hope. I know that many, many years before I came to work at RiverStone, before I even knew the significance of this tree, I was going through some grief of my own, and I couldn't sleep at night, and so I would be out biking or walking in the middle of the night. And there was one night that I was biking, and this tree was just lit up, and I found myself biking to this tree and just touching it. And after that night, every night I would come here, and this tree truly got me through a really dark winter. And so I hope that other people will come and find that same kind of hope in this tree, because the lights on this tree truly do symbolize that hope and that light that can come back into our lives. And now we'll take a moment of silence just to remember our loved ones that have moved on and that are still here with us in spirit but are gone physically. And now Eric will lead us in a closing prayer.
Source of all light and giver of all life, we give you thanks for all those who have served and continue to serve as lights in our lives. As we gaze upon this tree of light and hold our candles that reflect brilliance, we remember and honor our loved ones during this holiday season. May their light continue to illuminate our hearts. May we be lights of your light to others. Help us to go on doing good. Protect us from all danger, and let your light of life transform us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all for joining us in this celebration of life and light.
Thank you for sharing this special evening with RiverStone Health Hospice. We would again like to thank our presenting sponsors, Yellowstone Bank and Michelati Sawyers, and all of our community sponsors for their support of the 33rd Annual Hospice Tree of Lights. RiverStone Health Foundation is honored to continue this tradition of remembering and honoring those who are gone from our sight, but not from our hearts. Thank you for spending this time with us in memory of those we hold dear. The Hospice Tree of Lights will remain lit throughout the holiday season, and I invite you to visit the tree on the campus of RiverStone Health at 123 South 27th Street in Billings. Thank you again for sharing this special evening with us. May the memories of your loved ones be a blessing throughout the season and always.